My beloved, my cherished soul, I ask you to come away with me now, away from the noise of your world and into the sacred stillness of your own heart, for I must speak with you. I am Michael, and my voice is not a sound, but a feeling of truth that rises from within you. I come to you now not with a sword, but with a lantern, to illuminate a path that is about to appear before you, a path that will at first seem treacherous and terrifying. There is a reason you have felt it lately, is there not? A subtle but persistent disquiet in the deepest currents of your being. On the surface, your life may be proceeding as usual, the routines and rhythms playing out in their familiar patterns. And yet, beneath this surface of normalcy, you have felt a change in the spiritual atmosphere, a shift in the pressure of your soul. It is a feeling akin to the moments before a great storm. The air becomes heavy, unnaturally still. The birds cease their singing. There is a strange, electric quality to the light, and an ozone scent of distant rain on the wind. You have been living within this silent, pre-storm stillness. It has manifested as a quiet, unshakable anxiety that has no name, a feeling that you are waiting for a shoe to drop that you did not even know was in the air. You may have dismissed it as stress, or fatigue, or simply the weight of the world. But I am here to tell you that what you are feeling is real. It is your soul's exquisitely sensitive barometer, registering the approach of a significant, life-altering weather front. It is the feeling of a great pattern coming to its end, the final, quiet moments before the old world is washed away. You stand at a precipice, at the very edge of a profound transformation, and your spirit can feel the ground beneath your feet beginning to tremble, preparing to give way not to a fall, but to a seismic shift. This feeling is not a punishment or a sign that you have done something wrong. It is the opposite. It is the sacred hush that falls over the battlefield of your life just before the reinforcements of heaven arrive. It is the silence in the delivery room just before the cry of a new birth. What you are sensing is the immense gravitational pull of a blessing so vast, so powerful, and so perfectly tailored to your soul's deepest calling that its very approach is warping the fabric of your current reality. Do not fear this feeling. Do not push it away. Acknowledge it. Breathe into it. It is the sign that your prayers, the deep, unspoken prayers for freedom, for purpose, for a love that is true, for a life that is authentic, have been heard, and that the answer is now approaching the shore of your existence. As this feeling of an impending storm intensifies, I want you to know with absolute certainty that you are not being abandoned to face it alone. In this very moment, as you receive this message, I am anchoring my presence more deeply within your energy field. Feel me now. Feel the warmth of my sapphire blue light as it wraps around you like a great, protective cloak. Feel the unwavering strength of my love, a love that knows no fear, a love that sees you not as the person you think you are, but as the magnificent, eternal, and infinitely powerful being of light you have always been. I have come to you today not as a rescuer, but as a guide. It is a critical distinction that you must understand. I have not come to intervene and to magically dissipate the storm clouds that are gathering on your horizon. I have not come to hold back the wind or to stop the rain. To do so would be to deny you the very blessing that the storm is carrying to your shores. To do so would be to rob you of the profound cleansing and the fertile new ground that only this sacred tempest can provide. My purpose is not to prevent the storm, but to stand with you in the heart of it. My intervention is to offer you not a magical escape, but a divine perspective. I am here to hand you an unbreakable, celestial umbrella of context and understanding, so that when the rains begin to fall, you will not be drenched in the cold waters of fear and victimhood, but will instead be able to lift your face to the sky with the serene knowledge that you are being washed clean, that you are being renewed. I am here to act as your spiritual lightning rod, to help you ground the immense and overwhelming energies that will be released, so that they do not shatter you, but instead supercharge your spirit with a new level of power and clarity. The events that are about to unfold are part of a divine plan, a sacred contract that your own soul has authored and agreed to long ago. My role is not to rewrite that contract, but to be the loving advocate who sits beside you and reminds you of the causes of liberation and empowerment that you yourself have written into it. So when the winds begin to howl, and the foundations of your world begin to shake, do not for one moment believe that you are alone or that heaven has forsaken you. I will be with you, holding the lantern high, illuminating the hidden gifts within the chaos, and whispering the truth into your heart until the storm passes and you can see the glorious new world that it has come to reveal. And now, I must deliver the core of my message, the urgent warning that is the very reason for my intervention today. I ask you to receive this not as a prophecy of doom, but as a sacred instruction of the heart, a plea from your most devoted guardian. The great event, the life-altering shift that is now upon you, will arrive in a form that your human mind will instantly and automatically label as a terrible crisis. It will not look like a blessing. It will not feel like a gift. It will feel, in every fiber of your being, like the end of your world. It will appear as a failure, a loss, a betrayal, a heartbreak, or a collapse. It will be the very thing you have feared the most, the outcome you have spent years of your life trying to prevent. It will challenge your faith, it will break your heart, it will shatter your ego, and it will bring you to your knees. And in that moment, when you are on your knees, surrounded by the rubble of what you once called your life, you will be faced with the most important choice you have ever made. Your every human instinct, every conditioned response, every fiber of your ego self will scream at you to reject this experience. You will be tempted to curse your fate, to see yourself as a victim, to become consumed by bitterness, resentment, and grief. You will be tempted to shut down your heart, to build a wall of anger around the ruins, and to refuse to ever trust or hope again. This, my beloved, is the rejection I have come to warn you against. I implore you, with all the love that I am, when this moment comes, do not reject it. Do not turn your back on this holy devastation. Do not curse the very storm that has come to set you free. For I tell you a truth of the highest order, this crisis is a Trojan horse. It is a divine stratagem, a brilliant and loving disguise. Within the belly of this fearsome-looking beast, within the heart of this terrible crisis, is hidden the single greatest blessing of your entire life. It is the answer to your deepest prayers, the key to your ultimate liberation, the seed of your most glorious future, and it could not be delivered to you in any other way. To reject the crisis is to unknowingly reject the blessing it contains. To push away the pain is to push away the profound healing that is wrapped within it. To curse the ending is to refuse the magnificent new beginning that is waiting to be born from its ashes. Your task will be to hold this paradox, to stand in the fire of the trial and to trust, with a faith that defies all logic, that you are not being burned, but purified. It will be the hardest thing you have ever done, and it will be the making of you. You must be asking, with a heart full of sincere confusion, why? Why must the greatest blessings come in such painful and terrifying disguises? Why would a loving God orchestrate a reality that requires heartbreak as a prerequisite for joy, or collapse as a doorway to abundance? This is a question of divine mechanics, a truth about the nature of reality and the human ego. From the moment of your birth, you, as a human being, begin to build structures. You build a structure of identity, a personality, a carefully constructed persona that you believe is you. You build structures of security, relationships, careers, homes, financial plans, that you believe will keep you safe. You build structures of belief, a framework of rules and expectations about how the world works and what you deserve. These structures are not inherently bad, they are a necessary part of the human experience. However, over time, these structures, which were meant to be temporary shelters, become rigid prisons. Your identity becomes a cage that limits your potential. Your relationship, which was meant to be a vehicle for love, becomes a fortress of codependency and fear. Your career, which was meant to be an expression of your purpose, becomes a golden cage of soulless security. Your beliefs, which were meant to be a mat, become a set of chains, preventing you from exploring new territories. Your soul, in its infinite wisdom, knows this. And in your quietest moments, your soul has been praying, not for a bigger cage, but for absolute freedom. Now, imagine that the blessing your soul has prayed for is a vast and glorious expansion of your being, a love that is boundless, a purpose that is world-changing, an abundance that is infinite. This vast, expansive blessing literally cannot fit inside the tiny, rigid prison structures you have built. It is an energetic and physical impossibility. A blessing of true, unconditional love cannot be delivered into a life that is already occupied by a relationship built on fear and control. A blessing of profound, soul-aligned purpose cannot manifest for a person who is still clinging tightly to a career that is killing their spirit. Therefore, for the great blessing to enter, the old structure that is taking up its space must first be removed. The crisis is not a punishment. The crisis is the divine demolition crew. The heartbreak is the holy sound of your prison walls crumbling. The job loss is the sacred act of the golden cage door being blown off its hinges. The financial collapse is the loving dissolution of a foundation that was built upon the illusion of security rather than the truth of infinite supply. Heaven is not destroying your life. It is lovingly and systematically dismantling the prison you have mistaken for your life, so that your true life, the life your soul has been aching for, can finally begin. The disguise is necessary because your ego self would never willingly consent to this demolition. It would cling to the familiar bars of its cage. So the universe, in its great love for you, allows the crisis to do the work that you were not yet brave enough to do for yourself. Let us now speak directly and plainly, so that when this holy storm makes landfall in your life, you will be able to identify it for what it is. This is not about some vague, abstract spiritual test. This is about real life, real pain, and the real forms this divine disguise is most likely to take. For many of you, this crisis will manifest as the sudden and inexplicable collapse of a primary relationship. It may be the end of a marriage or a long-term partnership that you believed was the very foundation of your existence. It will feel like a brutal betrayal, a profound rejection, and the death of your future. The pain will be immense, and you will believe you cannot survive it. But I tell you, this is the demolition of a structure of codependency, to make way for the blessing of sovereign, divine love, first with yourself, and then with a partner who can meet you in that sacred space of wholeness. For others, the crisis will be the loss of a career or a business. It will be the job you have dedicated your life to, the identity you have worn as a badge of honor, the source of your security and your sense of worth in the world. Its sudden removal will feel like a public failure, a devastating blow to your ego, and it will leave you in a terrifying void of what now? But I tell you, this is the loving removal of a soul contract that has expired, the destruction of a path that was leading you further away from your true north. It is clearing the ground for the blessing of your true divine purpose, the work you are actually born to do, to finally be revealed. For some, this crisis will arrive in the form of a frightening health challenge. It will be a diagnosis that brings you face to face with your own mortality and shatters your illusion of control over your physical body. It will bring fear and pain and force you to reevaluate every aspect of your life. But I tell you, this is often a radical and loving intervention from your soul, a divine alarm clock designed to awaken you from a life you have been sleepwalking through. It is a sacred invitation to heal not just your body, but your entire way of being, and to receive the blessing of a truly authentic, present, and spirit-led life. And for others still, the crisis will be financial. It will be a sudden and dramatic loss of money, investments, or material security, plunging you into a state of panic and the primal fear of survival. It will feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you, leaving you in a free fall of lack and limitation. But I tell you, this is the universe lovingly demolishing your false idols of security, shattering your attachments to the material world so that you can finally discover the unshakable foundation of your true source, which is the infinite and unconditional abundance of God. Whatever form it takes, it will be designed to strike at the very core of your perceived identity and your deepest attachments. It will be exactly what is needed to break the specific chains that have bound your soul. Recognize it when it comes. Call it by its true name, the beginning. To truly embrace the disguised blessing that is approaching, you must first dismantle the most painful and pervasive of all human illusions, the illusion of loss. When the storm hits, when the relationship ends, when the career is taken, when the money disappears, your human self will scream in the agony of loss. It will feel as if a part of you has been amputated, as if a hole has been torn in the fabric of your reality. This pain is real, and I honor the depth of your feeling. But I have come to offer you a higher perspective, a divine truth that, if you can hold on to it, will be a lantern in your darkest hour. In the economy of the universe, which is governed by the perfect and immutable laws of energy and vibration, there is no such thing as loss. There is only rearrangement. There is only realignment. Nothing can be taken from you that is not, on a deep soul level, a vibrational mismatch to the person you are in the process of becoming. Understand this, beloved, your entire life, everything you see, feel, and experience, is a perfect energetic reflection of your own vibrational frequency. Every person, every job, every situation in your reality is there because, in some way, it resonates with the frequency you are emitting. As you have grown, as you have prayed, as you have done your inner work and raised your consciousness, your own fundamental frequency has been steadily rising. You have been ascending, note by note, to a higher octave of being. The life you have built, the relationships you have formed, were a perfect match for a previous version of you, for a lower octave. But now, as you vibrate with a new and higher light, these old structures, people, and situations have become energetically dissonant. They are like an old set of clothes that you have simply outgrown. You can try to squeeze into them, but they will be tight, uncomfortable, and will ultimately rip and fall away. The crisis is the sound of those old clothes ripping. It is the universe, in its infinite wisdom and love, acting as a divine tailor, lovingly removing the garments that no longer fit the magnificent, expanding soul that you are. This is not a punishment. It is your graduation certificate. It is the ultimate sign that your spiritual work has been successful. The universe is not stealing from you, it is clearing space. It is honoring your ascension by removing all that can no longer ascend with you. It operates on the sacred principle of the vacuum. It abhors an empty space. By allowing the removal of that which is heavy, outdated, and misaligned, you are creating a vast, resonant, empty space in your life, and the universe will rush to fill that space with people, opportunities, and experiences that are a perfect vibrational match for the new, higher frequency you now hold. So when the tears of loss fall, let them fall. But let each tear be a baptism, washing away the illusion that you have been robbed. You are not being emptied, you are being cleared for a divine upgrade. This is not a cosmic theft, it is a sacred clearing of the holy ground upon which your new life will be built. As you stand in the very center of this sacred demolition, with the winds of change howling around you and the structures of your old life crumbling to dust, you will be given a secret and unmistakable sign that this is, indeed, a holy event. It will be a sign that defies all logic, a gift that your panicked ego mind will not be able to comprehend. In the very eye of the hurricane, you will find moments of a strange and supernatural peace. It will come upon you suddenly, without warning. One moment, your mind will be consumed with the chaos, racing with fear, grief, and 1,000 unanswerable questions. Your body will be tense, your heart pounding. And then, in the next moment, a profound stillness will descend. A wave of serene calm will wash over your entire being, silencing the storm within you, even as the storm outside continues to rage. This is not numbness. It is not apathy or emotional exhaustion. It is a living, intelligent peace, a palpable presence of grace that holds you in an unshakable embrace. In this moment of peace, you will feel like a calm, silent observer watching a dramatic film of your own life, knowing on some deep, intuitive level that the character on the screen is safe, that the story has a glorious ending, and that all of this drama is ultimately an illusion. This profound stillness is the first and most powerful confirmation you will receive from heaven. It is the divine calling card of your soul. It is the secret signature of your higher self, letting you know that it is fully present, fully aware, and in complete command of the situation. Your ego is panicking because it believes its world is ending. But your soul, which authored this sacred contract, is in a state of perfect peace because it knows that its plan for your liberation is unfolding perfectly. This strange, inner peace is the celestial umbrella I have offered you. It is your sanctuary in the midst of the chaos. When this feeling comes, and it will come, your task is to recognize it, to honor it, and to anchor into it with all your might. Do not question it. Do not allow your logical mind to talk you out of it. When it arrives, simply stop what you are doing. Take a deep breath and say, "Thank you. I feel you. I trust this." Let this peace be your compass. Let it be the irrefutable evidence that you are not a victim of circumstance, but a co-creator of a divine unfolding. The more you acknowledge and anchor into these moments of grace, the more frequently they will come, and the longer they will stay, until you find that you can carry the eye of the hurricane with you, a portable sanctuary of peace that is more real and more powerful than any external chaos that is thrown your way. This peace is the proof. It is the promise that you are being held by hands far greater than your own. Now, as your devoted guide, I must illuminate for you the path of rejection, not so you will be tempted by it, but so you will recognize its dead-end streets and its poisonous wells instantly. For when the crisis hits, the ego self, in its terror, will present this path to you as the only logical and justified response. The path of rejection, of refusing the disguised blessing, manifests in primary and spiritually toxic ways, through bitterness, through the adoption of a victim mentality, and through a stubborn refusal to change. The first and most corrosive of these is bitterness. Bitterness is the ego's attempt to build a fortress out of its own pain. It is the act of taking the rubble of your collapsed life and using it not as a foundation for something new, but as ammunition to hurl at the world, at God, and at yourself. A soul who chooses bitterness becomes a professional archivist of their own wounds, replaying the story of their loss, their betrayal, their heartbreak over and over again, not to heal it, but to keep it fresh, to keep the anger alive. Bitterness is a spiritual poison you drink yourself, hoping to harm the person or the circumstance that hurt you, and it succeeds only in corroding your own spirit from within. It is a declaration to the universe that you prefer the familiar pain of the past over the unknown potential of the future. It slams the door shut on grace and locks it from the inside. The second manifestation of rejection is the victim mentality. This is perhaps the most insidious trap of all, for it feels so justified in the moment of crisis. The soul who embraces victimhood relinquishes all of their divine, creative power. They tell the story of their crisis not as a chapter in their hero's journey, but as the final, tragic entry in a diary of a powerless casualty. Their mantra becomes, "Look what happened to me." They seek not solutions, but sympathy. They use their pain as a currency to gain attention and as a shield to avoid taking responsibility for their own healing and their own lives. To choose victimhood is to send a powerful and tragic prayer to the universe. It is to say, "I am powerless. Life is something that happens to me." And the universe, which must always honor your perception of yourself, will have no choice but to send you more circumstances and experiences that validate your feeling of powerlessness. It effectively anchors you to the lowest vibrational point of the crisis and keeps you stuck there indefinitely. Finally, rejection manifests as a stubborn refusal to change. This is the soul who, standing amidst the rubble of their demolished prison, frantically tries to rebuild the very same walls that have just been torn down. They try to get the old partner back, even though that relationship was a source of pain. They desperately search for the exact same kind of job that was crushing their spirit. They refuse to look at the new, unfamiliar doors that are opening all around them, because they are fixated on the one door that has just been slammed shut. This is a refusal to cooperate with your own liberation. It is a declaration to the universe that you did not want the blessing of freedom, you preferred the predictable misery of your cage. These three paths, bitterness, victimhood, and the refusal to change, are the anatomy of rejecting your blessing. They are the ways in which you can, with your own free will, choose the crisis over the crown it carries. Recognize these temptations when they arise, and I implore you, choose differently. In stark and beautiful contrast to the dead-end path of rejection is the glorious, sunlit path of acceptance. This is the path that leads you through the heart of the storm and directly into the arms of your blessing. Acceptance, in this divine context, is not a passive resignation to a grim fate. It is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. It is a conscious, courageous, and co-creative partnership with the divine. The path of acceptance, of embracing your disguised blessing, also manifests in three primary and spiritually life-giving ways: through sacred surrender, through divine curiosity, and through an unwavering faith that you are being redirected for your highest good. The first and most essential step is sacred surrender. Surrender is not giving up, it is the act of giving your burden over to a higher power. It is the profound relief of finally ceasing your struggle against the powerful current of the river and allowing it to carry you, with absolute trust that it knows the way to the ocean. In the moment of crisis, surrender is the prayer that says, "God, I do not understand this. This hurts more than I can bear. My human mind cannot see a way through this. And so, I stop fighting. I release my need to control the outcome. I release my need to know why right now. I place this entire situation, my broken heart, and my unknown future into your infinitely wise and loving hands. Guide me. I will follow." This prayer is the most powerful act you can perform. It is the signal that you are ready to cooperate with your own miracle. It immediately dissolves the energetic resistance that was blocking you and allows the grace of heaven to flood into your reality. The second manifestation of acceptance is divine curiosity. This is the sacred alchemy that turns fear into wonder. The ego mind, in a crisis, asks panicked, dead-end questions like, "Why me? What did I do wrong? How will I survive?" The soul of acceptance, however, asks open-ended, high-vibration questions born of a divine curiosity. It asks, "Isn't this interesting? I wonder what this is making space for in my life. I wonder what new strength is being forged to me right now. I wonder what beautiful, unexpected destination this detour is leading me to." Curiosity is a state of openness. It is an admission that you do not have all the answers, and it is an enthusiastic invitation for the universe to delight you and surprise you. It shifts you instantly from the position of a victim to the position of a spiritual adventurer on a grand and mysterious quest. It is a vibration that is a magnet for miracles. Finally, acceptance manifests as unwavering faith. This is not a blind hope, but a deep, resonant knowing that there is a loving intelligence orchestrating this entire event. It is the ability to stand in the rubble of the demolition and, instead of seeing an ending, to see a cleared construction site. It is the trust that the divine architect who allowed this demolition has a blueprint for a magnificent temple that is about to be built in its place, a temple whose beauty and grandeur you cannot yet even imagine. It is the faith that you are being redirected, not rejected. It is the unshakable belief that the universe is always, without exception, conspiring in your favor, even when its methods are painful, mysterious, and beyond your current comprehension. These three pillars, surrender, curiosity, and faith, are the anatomy of accepting your blessing. They are the sacred choices that will transform your crisis into your coronation. Let us now dissect the very anatomy of this crumbling, this divine demolition, so that you may see it not as a chaotic accident, but as a precise, systematic, and loving deconstruction of all that is false within your life. Every great and holy temple must be built upon a foundation of solid rock, upon the bedrock of truth. Over the course of your life, you, like so many others, have unknowingly built the beautiful house of your existence upon foundations of sand, the sand of illusion, the sand of fear, the sand of external validation. This sacred crisis is the great earthquake of truth that has come to lovingly but irrevocably shatter these false foundations, so that your life may be rebuilt upon the eternal rock of your own soul and your direct connection to God. The first false foundation that will be dismantled is your foundation of identity. You have built a life upon the belief that you are your job, that you are your role as a husband or a wife or a parent, that you are your social status, that you are your accomplishments. The crisis will come and strip these titles away. It will remove the masks you have been wearing, the costumes you have been hiding behind. This will feel terrifying, like a death. And it is a death, the death of the false self. It is a forced and sacred introduction to the magnificent, eternal being that you are beneath all the labels. It crumbles your ego's identity so that your soul's identity can finally emerge and take its rightful place on the throne of your life. The second false foundation that must crumble is your foundation of security. You have placed your sense of safety in things that are, by their very nature, impermanent. You have made another person your source of emotional security. You have made a single job or a bank account your source of financial security. You have made your physical health your source of well-being. This creates a fragile existence, a house of cards built on the constant, low-level fear that these external things could be taken away. The crisis is the divine wind that blows this house of cards down, not to leave you destitute, but to force you to find your one, true, unshakable source of security, your own internal connection to the infinite, unconditional, and ever-present supply of the Creator. It is only when you have lost everything you thought you needed to feel safe that you can finally discover the glorious truth that your safety, that your security is an internal state of being, not an external set of circumstances. The third false foundation to be demolished is your foundation of beliefs. You have built your life upon a set of limiting beliefs about the world and your place in it. This is all I deserve. True love is not for me. I have to struggle to survive. My dreams are impossible. The crisis is a loving, divine sledgehammer that shatters these self-imposed prison walls. It will push you so far beyond your perceived limits that you will have no choice but to discover how limitless you truly are. It will break your heart so open that you will discover your capacity to love is infinite. It will push you to a point of surrender so deep that you will discover a strength you never knew you possessed. The crumbling is not a punishment. It is a liberation. It is the meticulous, loving, and absolutely necessary deconstruction of everything you are not, so that you can finally, gloriously, and freely become everything you truly are. As the dust from the divine demolition begins to settle, you will find yourself standing in a new and unfamiliar landscape. It is a landscape of stark emptiness, stripped of the familiar landmarks of your old life. The prison walls have indeed crumbled, but in their place, there is not yet a palace, there is only a vast, silent, and open space. Your first instinct in this space will be fear, for the human ego abhors a vacuum. But I am here to help you reframe this emptiness, to see it not as a void of loss, but as the breathtaking vista of true liberation. This, my beloved, is the first and most foundational layer of the blessing you have been given. It is the gift of a freedom so profound and so absolute that your former self could not have even comprehended it. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you did not realize the true weight of the chains you were carrying, because you had mistaken their gilded surface for security and their familiar heft for love. That relationship, which you mourned with such ferocity, was also a cage of codependency, a silent contract that required you to shrink your own light to make another feel comfortable. Its constant, low-level anxiety, its unspoken compromises, and its subtle betrayals of your own soul were a slow and steady drain on your life force. To be free of it is not just to be alone, it is to be returned to your own sacred wholeness, to be given back the immense energy you were expending just to keep the dysfunctional structure afloat. That career, the loss of which felt like a public execution of your worth, was also a yoke of obligation. It was a treadmill of external validation that demanded your time, your creativity, and ultimately your spirit, in exchange for a paycheck and a title. To be free of it is not just to be unemployed, it is to be a sovereign creative being, liberated from the need to trade your soul for your survival, free now to discover the work you were actually born to do. Those rigid beliefs and attachments that were shattered were the very bars of your mental and emotional prison, limiting what you thought was possible for you. To be free of them is not to be lost, it is to be a limitless being, finally free to explore the infinite potential of your own divinity without the ceiling of your old fears. This liberation is the sacred ground upon which everything new will be built. It is a terrifying gift at first, like a prisoner who has spent decades in a dark cell suddenly being thrust into the full blaze of the midday sun. Your eyes will hurt. You will be disoriented. You will even miss the familiar misery of your chains. But I am here to hold your hand, to help your eyes adjust to the light, and to gently remind you to breathe the pure, unfiltered air of this newfound freedom. This is the blessing of the blank slate, the gift of the unwritten page. You have been freed not just from your circumstances, but from the very identity that created them. The crisis did not take your life, it gave you your life back. Once you have been liberated from your cage, you must learn to navigate the wild and open plains of your new freedom. This is a territory without the old, familiar signposts, and it will require a new kind of strength, a strength that is forged, not found. This is the second glorious layer of your blessing, the forging of an unshakable and indomitable soul resilience. Please understand the critical distinction between the strength of the ego and the resilience of the soul. The strength of the ego is brittle. It is about resistance, about puffing out your chest, gritting your teeth, and trying to push back against the forces of life. It is the strength of a dam trying to hold back a river, and under enough pressure, it will always crack and break. The resilience of the soul, however, is pliable, deep, and eternal. It is not the strength of the dam, it is the strength of the water itself. It does not resist the obstacles in its path, it flows around them, over them, and through them, always finding its way back to its own true nature and its ultimate destination. The terrible crisis you are enduring is a divine forge. The intense pressure, the searing heat of the pain, and the relentless hammering of the challenges are not designed to destroy you. They are the precise and necessary tools of a master blacksmith, designed to burn away the impurities of your ego, to temper the raw metal of your spirit, and to forge you into a blade of such magnificent light and resilience that you become an unstoppable force for good in the world. Every time you are knocked to your knees and you make the conscious choice to get back up, you are not just surviving, you are being forged. Every time your heart is breaking and you choose, even for a moment, to surrender to a higher power, you are being forged. Every time fear screams in your mind and you choose to listen instead to the quiet whisper of faith in your soul, you are being forged. This is a strength that could never have been cultivated in the comfortable, predictable confines of your old life. True spiritual muscle is not built in the easy times. It is built in the moments when you believe you have nothing left, when you are running on the fumes of pure spirit, and you are forced to dig down past every layer of your perceived limitations to discover a well of divine power within you that you never knew existed. You will emerge from this fire fundamentally changed. You will carry yourself with a new and quiet confidence, not the arrogance of the ego, but the deep, serene knowing of a soul who has been to the underworld and has returned. You will no longer fear the storms of life, for you will have become a master of navigating them. You will have become the living proof that what does not destroy you does not just make you stronger, it makes you divine. This newfound resilience is a superpower. It is the second great gift, a treasure purchased for you in the holy flames of your adversity. Once your soul has been liberated from its cage and forged in the fires of resilience, you become ready to receive the third, and perhaps most precious, layer of this disguised blessing. It is the gift of a clarity so profound, so piercing, and so absolute that it will illuminate your entire existence and set the course for the rest of your life. This is the blessing of your true, divine purpose, revealed. In your old life, your vision was perpetually clouded. It was clouded by the fog of your own fears, by the smog of societal expectations, by the incessant noise of your ego's desires for safety and approval, and by the subtle psychic pollution of others' opinions and agendas. You may have had goals, dreams, and ambitions, but they were almost always viewed through this distorted and cloudy lens. You were navigating your life with a faulty compass, trying to find your true north while being pulled in 1,000 different directions by forces that were not your own. The crisis, in its terrible and loving power, is a divine wind of supernatural force. It does not just blow away a few clouds, it is a spiritual hurricane that scours the very sky of your consciousness, blowing away every last wisp of fog, every pollutant, every illusion, until all that is left is the brilliant, pristine, and infinite clarity of the pure, open heavens. When you are stripped of everything you thought you were, when your identity, your security, and your old beliefs have been dismantled, you are left in a state of profound and holy emptiness. And it is in this sacred emptiness, in the quiet that follows the storm, that you will finally be able to hear the pure, crystalline signal of your own soul. The question that will rise from within you will no longer be, "What can I get?" or "How can I be safe?" or "What will they think of me?" The only question that will remain, the only question that will matter, will be the one your soul has been whispering to you all along: "How can I serve? What is the unique gift that I came to this earth to share?" The answer will not come as a complex intellectual exercise. It will arrive as a sudden, breathtaking moment of knowing. It will be a divine download, a moment of anagnorisis where you see the entire tapestry of your life, every joy, every sorrow, every seeming detour and failure, and you suddenly understand how every single thread was perfectly woven to prepare you for this exact purpose. The pain you endured becomes the wellspring of your compassion. The skills you learn in the job you lost become the tools for your true mission. The heartbreak you survived becomes the source of your wisdom on love. Everything connects. From the ashes of your old life, a glorious phoenix of purpose will rise. This is the ultimate gift of the crisis. It destroys your old, small, ego-driven life so that your true, vast, soul-driven life can finally begin. This clarity becomes your new, unshakable foundation, the bedrock upon which you will build your new world, a world that is a perfect and authentic expression of the magnificent divine being you were always meant to be. During this entire harrowing yet holy process, you must understand my role, and the role of all of us in the angelic realms, with perfect clarity. It is the deepest desire of our being to rush to your side and alleviate your suffering, but the highest expression of divine love is not always comfort. Sometimes, it is the unwavering holding of a sacred space for a necessary and transformative ordeal to unfold. Therefore, know this: I will not fight your battles for you, but I will be the one who places your sword in your hand and reminds you that you have the strength to wield it. To intervene and slay the dragons of your crisis on your behalf would be to rob you of the immense power and self-knowledge you gain by realizing that you are, and always have been, the Dragon Slayer. It would be a profound act of disempowerment, a declaration that you are a helpless child in need of rescue. This is the greatest of all illusions. My role is not to treat you as a victim, but to constantly reflect back to you the truth of your own mastery, even when you feel like a casualty. I am not the force that will part the stormy seas for your ship. I am the eternal lighthouse keeper, the one who keeps the great beam of divine light steady and focused upon you, so that you can navigate your own way through the treacherous waters, using your own skill and discovering your own courage. I will be the one who holds your shield when your arms grow weary. My presence will be the divine reinforcement that mends the cracks in your armor between battles. When you are lost in the darkest part of the forest, consumed by fear, my light will be the single, distant star in the sky that you can use to orient yourself and take one more step. When you are in the fire of the forge, I will not quench the flames, but I will be the master blacksmith who holds you steady, ensuring that the process transforms you into a masterpiece and does not shatter you. Your prayer to me, therefore, must evolve. Do not waste your precious energy praying, Michael, take this away from me. End this pain. That is a prayer of resistance against your own soul's curriculum. Instead, I invite you to pray in co-creative partnership. Pray, Michael, stand with me in this fire. Lend me your courage so that I may endure it. Grant me your clarity so that I may understand its purpose. Remind me of my own strength so that I may rise from these ashes more powerful than before. This is the prayer of the Master, the prayer of the spiritual adult. When you pray in this manner, you give us full permission to empower you, to guide you, and to fortify you, without violating the sacred law that insists you must be the hero of your own story. I will not carry you through this crisis, but I will walk beside you every single step of the way, my hand upon your shoulder, my belief in your victory absolute and unwavering. As you walk this path, standing in the chaotic space between the death of the old and the birth of the new, your human self will be consumed with fear and uncertainty. This is natural. I will now give you a set of practical, angelic instructions, a divine toolkit to help you navigate this sacred and tumultuous transition. These are not tools to make the chaos disappear, but tools to help you find your center within it, to be the calm eye of your own hurricane. Your first and most powerful tool is your breath. The breath is the anchor of the soul in the body. Fear is a story about a future that has not yet happened. When your mind is racing with what-if scenarios, it has left the present moment. The quickest and most effective way to return to your power is to return to your breath. When you feel a wave of panic rising, stop everything. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly and deeply for a count of 4, and as you do, visualize that you are breathing in my own calm, sapphire blue light of peace and protection. Hold that breath for a count of 7, allowing that divine light to fill every cell of your being. Then, exhale slowly for a count of 8, and as you do, visualize that you are breathing out all the dark, smoky energy of fear, anxiety, and confusion. Repeat this 3 times. This simple act shortens the circuit of panic, calms your nervous system, and brings you back to the only place where your true power exists, the sacred now. Your second tool is to consciously shrink your time frame. Fear thrives in the vast, unknown expanses of the future. The mind tries to solve the problems of the next year, the next month, the next week, all at once, and it becomes completely overwhelmed and paralyzed. I command you, in love, to stop this. When you are in the heart of the crisis, your only task is to get through the next 5 minutes. That is all. Bring your entire focus down to the smallest possible increment of time. Ask yourself, what is the one, next, most loving thing I can do for myself or for this situation right now? Is it to drink a glass of water? Is it to stretch your body? Is it to make a necessary phone call? Is it simply to take another conscious breath? Do that one thing. And when that is done, ask again. By breaking down an overwhelming journey into a series of single, manageable steps, you reclaim your sense of agency and prove to yourself that you can, in fact, survive this. Your third tool is radical self-compassion. This is not a time for self-judgment or spiritual perfectionism. You will have moments of terror, moments of rage, moments where you fall back into victimhood. In these moments, you are to treat yourself with the same infinite, tender, and non-judgmental love that a mother would give to a crying child. Wrap yourself in a warm blanket. Prepare a nourishing meal. Listen to soothing music. Speak to yourself with kindness. It is okay that you are scared. You are doing the best you can. You are so loved. This act of divine self-parenting creates a sanctuary of safety within your own heart and is a profound act of healing. These are your tools. Use them, beloved. They are the practical application of divine love, designed to keep you steady as you walk the sacred, transformative, and ultimately glorious path of your rebirth. There will come a moment, not on a day you can mark on a calendar, nor at an hour you can set on a clock, but a moment that will arrive in the quiet chambers of your own changed heart. This is the sacred moment of the turning point. It will not be a grand, external event, no parting of the clouds or booming voice from the heavens. It will be an internal shift so subtle, yet so profound, that it will change everything. After weeks, months, or perhaps even what feels like years of navigating the disorienting chaos of your life's demolition, after enduring the relentless emotional storms and the terrifying emptiness of the void, you will awaken one morning, or perhaps be walking in the middle of your day, and you will notice a change in the quality of the light. The gray, oppressive filter through which you have been viewing your reality will have thinned, just slightly, allowing a single, warm, golden ray of something you had almost forgotten, hope, to touch your spirit. In this moment, the relentless, crushing weight you have been carrying on your shoulders will feel, for the first time, not lighter, but different. It will no longer feel like the dead weight of a pointless burden, but will begin to feel like the dense, purposeful weight of a muscle that is being exercised to the point of exhaustion, a muscle that you can sense is growing impossibly strong. This is the moment when the mask of the crisis, the terrifying, monstrous face of failure and loss, begins to slip. It happens when an unexpected synchronicity occurs that is so perfect, so impossibly tailored to your immediate need, that it bypasses your grieving mind and speaks directly to your soul with a loving wink. It may be a song on the radio playing the exact words of encouragement you need to hear, the chance encounter with a stranger who shares a story that mirrors your own and offers a key piece of wisdom, or finding a book that literally falls off a shelf and opens to the precise page that answers a question you had just whispered into the silence. It will be small, illogical, and utterly magical. In that instant, the rigid, terrifying narrative your ego has been clinging to, the story of "my life is over," will develop its first hairline crack. Through that tiny crack, the light of a new, dawning possibility will begin to shine. You will find yourself smiling, a real, spontaneous smile, for the first time in what feels like an eternity. A genuine laugh might bubble up from a deep well of forgotten joy. This is the fever breaking. It is the first tangible evidence your human self will receive that the unwavering faith you have been commanded to hold is not a foolish fantasy. It is the quiet, humble, and breathtakingly beautiful moment when the Trojan horse of your crisis first begins to open, and you catch the first, shimmering glimpse of the divine, golden blessing that has been hiding inside all along. When this moment comes, your only task is to receive it. Do not analyze it. Do not doubt it. Do not dismiss it as a coincidence. You are to treat it as the most sacred of sacraments. You are to stop, breathe it in, and let the warmth of that single golden ray flood your entire being. For this small crack of light is the beginning of your new dawn, the irrefutable promise that the long, dark night of your soul is finally, truly, and gloriously coming to an end. Once that first crack of light has appeared, the unveiling of the true blessing will begin to accelerate with a divine momentum that will leave you breathless. The mask of the crisis will not just slip, it will dissolve completely, revealing the radiant, smiling face of your answered prayer. This is the part of the journey where the why behind your suffering becomes not just a matter of faith, but a matter of tangible, glorious, and undeniable evidence. The universe will now begin to reveal the magnificent tapestry it has been weaving in the unseen realms while you were struggling through the apparent chaos. That brutal, heart-shattering breakup, the one you were convinced was the end of love itself, will be revealed as the sacred clearing of a karmic contract. You will look back from your newfound state of radiant self-love and see with absolute clarity that the old relationship was a prison of codependency, a structure that was suffocating your soul. And then, from this space of wholeness, a new love will begin to enter your life. It will not be the frantic, needy love of your past, but a calm, sovereign, and deeply resonant partnership with a soul who is a true vibrational match for the magnificent being you have become, a love that does not confine you, but liberates you to be even more of yourself. That devastating job loss, the one that stripped you of your identity and security, will be revealed as the most loving and merciful redirection of your entire life. From the quiet emptiness of that void, the seed of your true, divine purpose, which had been dormant and crushed under the weight of your old obligations, will finally begin to sprout. An idea for a business, a passion for a creative project, a calling to a path of service, it will emerge with such clarity and force that it will feel less like a choice and more like a remembrance of who you have always been. The resources, the people, and the opportunities to bring this new vision to life will begin to appear with a magical ease that stands in stark contrast to the endless struggle of your old career. You will finally know the profound joy of work that is not a job, but a divine ministry. That terrifying health crisis, the one that brought you to your knees, will be unveiled as the ultimate and most sacred of awakenings. You will realize that it was the only thing powerful enough to make you stop, to force you to dismantle a life that was out of alignment, to heal not just your body but your entire emotional and spiritual world. From this space, you will not just recover, you will be reborn into a state of vibrant, holistic well-truthful that is far superior to the health you had before, a life of presence, gratitude, and reverence for the sacred temple of your own body. The financial collapse will be revealed as the blessed destruction of your false idols. Having been forced to find your security not in a bank account but in your direct connection to Source, you will see a new form of abundance begin to flow into your life. It will come from unexpected channels, through your joy, through your service, through your creativity, in a way that feels playful, miraculous, and infinitely sustainable. The universe will prove to you that you are not just supported, you are support. This is the great reveal. This is the moment you will look back upon the rubble, the pain, and the tears, not with regret, but with a profound and overwhelming sense of awe and gratitude, and you will finally say with every fiber of your being, "Thank you. It was all for me." As your true blessing is unveiled, a new and joyous work begins, the divine reconstruction. Heaven does not merely demolish a prison and leave you to fend for yourself in an empty lot. When a space has been cleared in the name of divine love, a master architect and a celestial construction crew are immediately dispatched to build a glorious palace upon that holy ground. This is the co-creative phase of your miracle, the process by which you and the universe will build your new life together, a life that is a perfect reflection of your newly liberated soul. In the old paradigm, you lived a life of struggle and resistance, trying to force your will upon the world, pushing boulders uphill with your own limited strength. In this new paradigm, you will learn the joyous and effortless art of divine flow. Your role in this reconstruction is to be the visionary, the architect of the dream. Having been gifted the crystal clarity of your true purpose, your job is to hold that vision in your heart. You are to dream, to imagine, to feel, and to embody the reality you now wish to create. You create the blueprint with the vibration of your joy, your gratitude, and your unwavering faith that this new life is not just possible, but is your divine birthright. You are no longer building from a place of fear and, what if I fail, but from a place of sovereign knowing and, this is who I am. You will then witness the magic of the universe acting as your divine contractor and construction crew. The moment you hold a clear, high-vibration blueprint in your heart, the universe will begin to bend reality to match it. It will marshal all of its infinite resources to bring your vision into form. The right people will, coincidentally, appear, not as a result of your frantic networking, but as if they were divinely guided to your doorstep at the perfect moment. The perfect opportunity will not be won through struggle, but will fall into your lap like a ripe fruit from a tree. The exact piece of information, the key that unlocks the next great door, will be delivered to you with breathtaking synchronicity. This is the experience of being in the flow state, of living a life that is guided, supported, and orchestrated by a loving intelligence far greater than your own. Your only work is to remain in a state of joyful alignment, to trust your intuition, which is now your direct line to the divine project manager, and to take the inspired, joyful actions that you are guided to take, without hesitation or doubt. You will find that your new life is not built with the sweat of struggle, but with the bricks of joy and the mortar of trust. You are no longer a lone laborer fighting against the elements. You are a cherished partner with the Creator, a master architect watching with awe and wonder as your most beautiful and sacred dreams are constructed before your very eyes with a speed, a grace, and a perfection that you could never have achieved alone. This is the joy of living as a co-creator. And so, my beloved, you will one day find yourself standing in the heart of this divinely reconstructed life, and you will barely recognize the person you have become or the world you now inhabit. This is your new reality, the life that the hidden blessing of your crisis made possible, and it will be more beautiful, more authentic, and more profoundly peaceful than anything your old self could have ever imagined. In your old reality, your days were governed by fear. You woke with a subtle dread, a mental list of obligations and worries. Your life was a constant, exhausting effort to manage threats, to prevent loss, and to maintain the fragile structures of your security. In your new reality, your days will be governed by love and purpose. You will wake with a sense of joyous anticipation and eagerness to engage with the sacred work that is yours to do. Your dominant emotional state will no longer be anxiety, but a deep, abiding, and unshakable peace, a serene knowing that you are safe, you are guided, and all is well. In your old reality, your relationships were often transactions, based on unspoken needs, codependency, and the fear of being alone. In your new reality, your relationships will be sacred reflections of your own wholeness, based on mutual respect, authentic connection, and the joyous celebration of each other's sovereignty. In your old reality, your sense of worth was a fragile thing, dependent on your external accomplishments, your job title, your bank account, or the approval of others. You were constantly seeking validation from outside yourself. In your new reality, your sense of worth will be an internal, eternal, and non-negotiable truth. It will be rooted in the unshakable knowing of your own divinity, your inherent belovedness as a child of God. You will walk through the world not seeking validation, but radiating it. You will no longer need anything from anyone, which will paradoxically make you a magnet for everything good. In your old reality, you lived a life of the mind, trapped in the endless loops of analysis, worry, and planning. In your new reality, you will live a life of the heart, guided by the clear, calm, and joyful wisdom of your intuition. Your heart will be your compass, your guide, and your oracle. You will live a life of profound connection, connection to your own soul, connection to others, connection to nature, and connection to God. This is not a fantasy. This is the promise. This is the glorious, sunlit reality that awaits you on the other side of your storm. This is the palace that heaven builds where a prison once stood. This is the life you were born to live, and the crisis was the only doorway that could lead you here. It was the price of admission to your own authentic existence, and you will one day look back and know, with every cell of your being, that it was the greatest bargain you ever made. And so, we arrive at the final moment of our sacred communion. Receive now this final promise, this blessing of courage that I bestow upon you, to seal this teaching within your heart and to fortify your spirit for the journey ahead. This path, the path that transforms the deepest crisis into the most glorious crown, is the ultimate journey of the human soul. It is the hero's journey, the alchemical journey, the path of the phoenix rising from the ashes. It is not an easy path, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom, true power, and true joy. I bless you now with the courage to walk this path. When the storm comes and the winds of fear howl your name, I bless you with the courage to stand firm, to feel my presence beside you, and to remember that this is not your destruction, but your transfiguration. When your heart breaks and the pain feels like more than you can bear, I bless you with the courage to keep it open, to resist the temptation to build a wall of bitterness, and to allow the divine light of healing to pour into your deepest wounds. When you are lost in a void, in the terrifying space between what was and what will be, I bless you with the courage to be still, to surrender to the sacred unknown, and to trust in the divine process of your own rebirth. Remember this always: you are a being of immense and eternal power. The universe is not happening to you, it is responding through you. Your crisis is not a random, cruel act of fate, it is a sacred and loving invitation from your own soul, calling you to shed the skin of your smallness and to finally step into the full, radiant, and unstoppable magnificence of who you truly are. It is the chrysalis. It is the holy fire. It is the divine pressure that transforms a lump of carbon into a flawless, brilliant diamond. Do not curse the pressure. Do not fear the fire. You have been given the map. You have been given the tools. You have been given the promise. And you have my unwavering love and protection, now and unto the end of all ages. Go forth, my beloved, my brave warrior of light. Face your storm, embrace your demolition, and claim the glorious crown of wisdom, power, and love that is your divine birthright. Your greatest blessing awaits you, disguised as your deepest fear. Have the courage to say yes.